We asked Franz Wagner who's standing out in training camp, and he gave us two names. One with the wind behind his sails, and one fighting a headwind today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is October 10th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we don't know very much that's gone on in training camp, but two names have popped up as players who've impressed at training camp. We'll talk about why the wind is behind the sails for Tristan da Silva and why Jett Howard is fighting for his shot. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can be one of our Orlando Magic dailies and listen to Locked On Magic Monday through Fridays, plus on the weekends. Whenever we do an episode, we truly appreciate all of our Orlando Magic dailies who listen to every episode 5 days a week plus when we do weekend episodes. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. There's a lot of buzz about Tristan da Silva. He besides Franz Wagner, he is the player we have watched the most. He is the player we have seen the most and seen fit into a style and into a role that we know can be successful for this Orlando Magic team. He is someone that we are eagerly waiting to see play and eagerly waiting to see what he can be. Beyond even just that, with the Magic being very near the luxury, being over the luxury tax, all the salary cap stuff, having a player that can contribute off a rookie contract only becomes more important. And knowing that the Magic will inevitably deal with some injuries, having a versatile player who just slides in, doesn't need a lot of attention, and can be effective is still super valuable. The Magic don't win all the games that they win in November and December last year without Tristan da Silva just kind of knowing his role. But obviously, the rookie shine on Tristan da Silva wore off. He hit the wall, whatever happened. He didn't finish the season as strongly as he started, and he played only 5 minutes in the playoffs. He was out of the rotation. And so as we looked ahead to this season, we wondered, where does Tristan da Silva fit? You can go back, find episodes on him throughout the summer. Where does he fit? What is his role? What will his second season look like? It was a huge question. Undoubtedly a huge question. And now we have to sit and ask ourselves, well, what is the answer? Well, the Magic had their answer. They wanted him to be more aggressive. They were trying to instill confidence in him at every turn through the offseason. In Summer League, they wanted him to go out there and make mistakes. Like, if you're going to turn the ball over, turn it over being aggressive. They put the ball in his hands and they said, go. And Da Silva had a really successful Summer League. He played really well, even if he was playing a role that wasn't quite what he was going to be for the Orlando Magic. And then EuroBasket happened, the second training camp of the summer. Then EuroBasket happened. After kind of feeling his way and finding his way, through the early games and again, just looking like a rookie, looking like a young guy on a new team, he found his role. He starred in his role, a 3-and-D wing who could cut and slash, but was an excellent three-point shooter for that team. Germany does not win EuroBasket without Tristan da Silva, without the contributions that he made, especially because he got better and more confident as the tournament went on. Not that Tristan da Silva wasn't a confident guy. He always kind of knew how to play within himself as a rookie. But the Magic want him to expand. They want him to grow. They want him because they want everyone to do everything. They want him to feel comfortable attacking and asserting himself when the opportunity arises. That's what Germany asked him to do, and that's what he succeeded at throughout EuroBasket. Da Silva slotted in the starting lineup for Franz Wagner when he sat out Saturday's game against the Miami Heat in the preseason opener. That is not surprising, and that's what I would expect, that Da Silva will be your spot starter, your designated spot starter at forward. I would expect that he's going to play a lot of minutes at the 3 and the 4, that at least early in the season, if the Magic go to a 10-man rotation, he's going to be in that rotation. In fact, I think it's pretty safe to say he is ensconced in the rotation. It's a question of how much is he going to play. But his game has evolved. His game has changed. He's not just, well, last year he was an average spot-up shooter, but he's not just a spot-up shooter anymore. He is willing to attack and willing to be aggressive. He's willing to find his spots. He hit that Dirk in the game against the Heat, and he's comfortable shooting that shot now. He's a better three-point shooter now than he was last year. There are all these hints that Tristan da Silva is going to do exactly what the Magic hoped he would do. Take playing a role the Magic want him to play in EuroBasket for his national team, and using that as momentum to come into the season with the Orlando Magic and deliver the kind of role player this team needs him to be. The kind of role player that can help this team grow tremendously. Tristan da Silva has a big role to play for this team, and he's going to play it. I don't think this is a fluke. I think this is, what the Magic drafted. They knew they were getting a high IQ player who could find his own shot, but is also very comfortable playing off of others. That's what the Magic wanted. That's what the Magic got. And yeah, he looked like a rookie his rookie year, but it seems like he has made a pretty sizable sophomore jump, a sophomore leap. He has taken his experience in the NBA and knowing what to expect and how to play and turned it into something else, into a better run here at this level and at this moment. Tristan da Silva is what you hope to see from young players, just a player who's getting better. And by all accounts in training camp, that momentum, that confidence that he gained playing at EuroBasket, playing for his national team, has only grown, has only gotten bigger, has only gotten better. And that means he's going to have a place to play for the Orlando Magic this season. Another player, though, has been named as someone who has stood out in training camp, but his future and his path are a lot trickier. We're going to talk about how Jett Howard is fighting for a chance. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football or really to any sporting event. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. It's so quick and easy to make a lineup. It's so quick and easy to put picks together. You can do them through multiple sports, and you can even do their new feature called Stacks. So if you want to ride with a player, you can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. It's also fun to follow other players in the app and copy their lineups with one click. Prize Picks is really the best daily fantasy that's out there. It's you versus the numbers. You're not in some giant player pool where you're just hoping to make your money back. It's you picking more or less on the stat categories you want. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 app. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So we're fishing for information. Like, I'm not going to lie about this. We're at training camp, we're at these practices, but the Magic still don't show us a lot. And that's okay. Like, we get it. Yeah, it's state secrets. It's all this jazz. Not Utah Jazz, but it's just Jazz. So when we get players and we ask them, like, well, what did you work on today? What was the focus of camp today? Who's looking good? We ask these kind of direct questions. Or at times, players will just volunteer them. Players will say, oh, yeah, no, this guy looks really good. And so we had Franz Wagner. We spoke to Franz on Wednesday. And we're just asking him how camp was going. Obviously, he sat out Saturday's game. He's eager to play. I expect him to play on Friday. Well, he's doing his own thing, but he said, Tristan da Silva looks really good. He obviously spent the whole summer with them. It's translated. He pointed Tristan out. He's pointed AB out. And then he pointed out Jett Howard and said, Jett looks like he's taken a big leap this offseason and has really impressed him during training camp. Jett Howard, mind you, only guy who could score off that Magic bench during the first half, at least, of that game on Saturday. That we saw it in preseason last year, how good Jett looked, and we were like, oh, maybe Jett Howard has made a leap and figured some things out. I would say that Jett played really well on Saturday. Not only just the scoring, I loved how he got after it, diving for the ball, for a jump ball, for held ball, like doing a lot of little things that have frankly kept him off the floor. The defensive element, the defensive piece is still the biggest piece that Jett Howard has to do. And look, last year, no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how you want to cut it, Jett Howard shot just 29.6% from three. I've made this point a few times. Even when JJ Redick wasn't playing and wasn't in the rotation, he was still shooting 40% from three. At the end of the day, if Jett Howard wants to play and wants to get playing time, the defense is an important piece. I think he's a willing and trying defender. I don't know if he's a good defender yet, but he's willing to try. But he was drafted for his three-point shot, and he shot worse than 30%. Yes, on limited attempts in limited minutes in both of his seasons in the NBA. This is a make or break season for Jett Howard. There's just no getting around it. There's a deadline on October 31st, I believe is the deadline for this. It might be the start of the season, October 21st. So we're nearing a deadline where the Magic have to decide whether they're going to pick up his fourth-year team option. And based off his first 2 years and knowing where the Magic stand and knowing the Magic's cap situation, I'm not 100% sure they will. But if he's had a good training camp, then you pick it up, because you never know when you're going to need him, and you never know if you're going to need his shooting at any point during the season or even in the playoffs. If Jett Howard has indeed had this kind of camp, and again, I thought he played well on Saturday's game. We'll see what he looks like Friday, and he'll continue to get some opportunity with that bench group. He needs to shine and stand out among those players, which, again, I thought he did on Saturday. But Jett Howard has had to fight a lot. There are a lot of players at his position. There are a lot of players that the Magic have acquired that do the things that he does and do them better on defense as well. And so Jett is facing an uphill climb. That's just the truth. And you say, well, Jamal Mosley never gave him a chance last year. And that might be true. He did have a very quick hook last year. The one time that he did get consistent playing time, at least when the team was healthy, he lost trust real fast. And whether that was warranted or not, I understand the logic, and was just like, no, he wasn't playing well. I get it. But at the same time, he's got to get opportunity. And that's the trick. I don't know if there's opportunity on this team. Not as currently constructed, not with everything the way it is. Chase Richardson is going to get a chance. Chase Richardson played really, really well on Saturday. And he also plays point guard, which helps a little bit. He's at a different position. But Tristan da Silva is going to get that opportunity. And you'd be hard-pressed to argue with me that Tristan da Silva isn't a better player, a more productive player than Jett Howard right now. Jett has to prove himself every time he steps on the floor. Whether that's practice, whether it's these preseason games, he has to prove himself and prove that he can be the player the Magic need him to be. That he can deliver this for this team. And that remains the fight for Jett Howard. There's just no getting around it. He has to produce. He has to score. He has to make shots when he gets them. He has to make good decisions. He has to limit his mistakes. He has to defend well. He has to be a willing defender. It's all on the plate for Jett Howard, and it's a lot. Because, again, fair or not, what is his NBA skill? It's supposed to be his shooting, but his shooting hasn't really come around. His shooting really hasn't been that effective at the NBA level. Now, again, Franz was singing his praises, and of course, the team always has reason to sing praises for themselves and pump each other up, and they're not going to bring each other down in the press, and certainly during training camp, they're going to pump each other up. But he didn't have to mention Jett. If everybody ignored Jett, we would too. So that, to me, says Jett did the work this summer. That Jett is better. And it'd be silly to think that he wouldn't get better in his third season in the NBA. It's just a matter of whether he has gotten better enough to crack the rotation, to give the Magic something of value. That is the big question. That is the big thing that he has to prove every single day. And Jett is indeed still fighting for his chance. Preseason game number 2 is on the horizon. We'll talk about what to expect in Friday's matchup with the Philadelphia 76ers, what the Magic are focusing on, how you should judge them. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. With FanDuel, there is so many ways to play, whether you're building parlays, trying player props, or even following the live lines during games. For our NBA friends, which we're all NBA friends here, they have futures already up. They have opening night lines, including the Magic favored to beat the Miami Heat. They have Coach of the Year with Jamal Mosley as the favorite to win Coach of the Year. So pick your award, pick your player prop, pick your line, pick your game. Just don't pick preseason games because you're not a sicko. You can find NBA bets just as easy as you can find NFL bets and football bets on FanDuel right now. FanDuel just makes watching sports more exciting because you'll have a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Quo. One of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly OpenPhone. You may remember them. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying 2 phones or relying on a landline. Quo, formerly known as OpenPhone, lets your team share one number and collaborate on calls and text like a shared inbox, so no customer gets left hanging. Their built-in AI agent is a game changer. It can answer after-hours calls, capture leads, and keep business moving even when you're off the clock. See why more than 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonNBA. That's Quo, QUO.com/lockedonNBA. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. That's Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. The Orlando Magic are finally back in action. Got a busy weekend here for the Orlando Magic as the preseason heads toward home. We're going to be looking toward the start of the regular season here very, very, very quickly. The Orlando Magic will first take on the Philadelphia 76ers on the road on Friday night. Then they'll face the Miami Heat on Sunday night at the Kia Center, where we'll be officially midway through the preseason schedule after Friday's game. So nice little thing here. The Magic are going to be kind of practicing game rhythm as they have a game between games. Now, I always say this, so I'm going to repeat it again. My first and foremost goal is I want the Magic to look better today than they did Saturday. And I suspect they will. Saturday's game was unusually sloppy with the fouling and the turnovers. And I credit a lot of that, or I blame a lot of that on just how early that game was in the process. Usually the Magic don't play a preseason game till like the Tuesday or Wednesday after training camp begins, or like that first week. They usually get that full weekend. Magic didn't get a full week. They looked that part a little bit. So I do expect them, first and foremost, to be a little sharper. Don't want to give up 30 free throws again. Don't want to turn the ball over 18, 19 times. I want to see just them look a lot sharper on that end. Just execution, just a whole lot better. The Magic have talked all camp about their conditioning. They want to run more. And we definitely, like, look, the fast break points weren't crazy. I don't think the transition numbers were that crazy, but we do want to see the Magic continue to play fast. They definitely look like they were playing faster. And so, again, I've been very much of the opinion, like, everybody says they want to play faster in training camp. Everyone talks about playing faster, and then everyone kind of falls into habits. And I want to see the Magic reestablish, kind of confirm this habit and keep playing at this faster tempo and really focus on converting off of turnovers and being more efficient off of turnovers. They were better, but they weren't great scoring off of Miami's turnovers and the mistakes that Miami made, especially again, we care more about that starting group and that second unit group. It was a bit of a mess. And so an overall higher level of execution matters. The Magic want to see better conditioning. They want to run, but they still want to defend really well. So I think another key part is that the Magic are controlling the tempo, that the Magic are the ones dictating how fast or slow the game goes, and that they're able to get their defense set and stay organized. I don't want to see this being like some back and forth game, which happened a little bit in Saturday's game against Miami, where just like both teams were running back and forth at each other. The Magic don't want to play that way. The Magic want to run because their defense is creating turnovers and creating opportunities. They want to get up the floor quickly so they can have more time to execute their offense and take advantage of their spacing. But when the other team has the ball, they want them slow to a crawl. So this game, as much as anything else, is about controlling pace too. And, Jamal Mosley has made it very, very clear. Yes, we're going to play faster. Yes, we're going to be really well conditioned, but you got to do it on both ends. It doesn't matter how much we score for giving up points still. And this team is going to take pride in its defense. They're still going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. Playing faster can create problems in your defense, especially if you're making mistakes. So I want to see the Magic control the tempo or just be better at controlling the tempo. It doesn't have to be perfect yet, but control the tempo in this game. I also think this is a really interesting dichotomy that we're going to see this weekend. The Miami Heat played big out of necessity on Saturday. They kept a lot of their guards at home, and most of them are still kind of out. And so it's going to be another kind of big lineup for Miami on Sunday. Philadelphia is playing really small. VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey are going to start in the backcourt. They won't have Joel Embiid. I don't think they'll have Paul George yet. Jared McCain's going to be out, but I also think Quentin Grimes probably will not play because he just signed his contract. He's still kind of integrating with the team. This is a Sixers team that's going to play a lot more guards. They're going to be a lot smaller, and they're going to try and run at the Magic. So again, Orlando has to dictate tempo, and I think they have to really, I would love to see the Magic use their size and just show like how much bigger they are and really take advantage of the versatility and the size that they have. I think that Philadelphia, the Magic should have a size advantage over Philadelphia, but it's going to be an interesting battle, a different kind of battle with this team. Tyrese Maxey is going to be really good. And I don't know who Magic probably put Bane on him, and we'll see how that matchup looks like. We'll see Tyus probably against VJ Edgecombe, and Edgecombe is an excellent defender. So there's going to be some interesting matchups, and this should be an interesting challenge. The Sixers are not full strength. They're not the juggernaut that they have been in the past. They're probably better than they were last year, even with McCain out again. But this is a good challenge for Orlando. And again, a game that we should expect the Magic to win. And again, or at least expect that their starters win their minutes like they did against Miami. I was pretty pleased that the starters were still +1 against Miami, even though there was plenty to clean up. They won their minutes, and I think that matters at this stage. That's the kind of box score that I'm looking at. Again, to me, the goal is always to look better with each progressive preseason game. And so again, like cleaning up some execution issues, being better on defense, being more solid on defense, continuing to display this pace style that the Magic are trying to implement, just looking more comfortable. It's been a week. They've had a full week of practice. They should look a lot better than they did on Saturday. And so there's going to be a lot to watch for, a lot to grow from coming up in this game. Should be a good one in Philadelphia. The game will be on NBA TV. I have been told, for those of you living in Orlando, that game will not be subject to a blackout because local broadcast is not airing the game. So we should be able to watch the game on NBA TV. So shouldn't have any issues finding that game. And then, of course, the Magic will be back in action Sunday at the Kia Center. Having said all that, the other thing we want to see is we want to see the Magic's players out on the floor together. I do suspect that the Magic will sit some players in one of these two games as much as they want to kind of practice a normal NBA schedule. It's the preseason. Wouldn't shock me if Paolo sits one of these games. Wouldn't shock me if Dez and Tyus sit one of these games. Wouldn't shock me if Dell sits one of these games. I think the Magic want to get these minutes. I think Franz will play Friday. I think he will play Sunday. I think Franz got his game off already. But I do think that we need to see these guys play together and that main group play together. I think that's really, really important. And again, Thursday against New Orleans is sort of the dress rehearsal. I think Thursday we will definitely see all of those players together. So that's the last note I wanted to get in about what to watch for on Friday. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Hamlet, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the film places you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, subscribe to my newsletter, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, go check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. It's just the NBA from a different perspective. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And the jerseys are bought, Josh. I promise. The jerseys are bought. I will have them in my hands next week. Customizing jerseys is hard. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We will be back tomorrow to recap the Magic's game against Sixers. I'll have that up shortly after the game ends, probably 2 hours after the game ends. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to Locked On Magic now to get that in your inbox when it is done. When I am done with it, get my immediate reaction to the Magic's game against Sixers. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. This has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.